everybody. I'm Rick Dancer. Welcome to Get Real with Rick Dancer. We have you guys are going to love this show tonight because this is what you've all been asking for. Every time we talk about a problem in Oregon, or, I can bring up, did you guys hear? I know all of you are very excited that Tina Kotek is going to run and shocked because you didn't think that was going to happen, but it is going to happen. She is going to run. And every time we bring anything up like this, you all start going, we got to get rid of vote by mail. We got to get rid of vote by mail. So tonight we have a gentleman on the show who is trying to get rid of vote by mail. So you're going to be very interested. And this guy's not a novice to how things work. He's the chair of the Republican Party in Clackamas County. But even more than that, that's even more important than that. This guy knows how the media works. And that's what you need to do a successful campaign, not people that just kind of throw it out there and do whatever they're going to do. So first of all, we got to get our sponsor in here. Michael Allen, Fish Dental, Eugene. If you guys are looking for a dentist who cares about your beliefs, your feelings, what you're doing, your freedom of speech, Dr. Allen is your guy. And right now is a really good time to get in before Christmas because after Christmas, it gets super busy. So if you're looking for a dentist, he is your man. Real quick, some updates. A couple of weeks ago, we had a couple of parents from the Rogue Valley on because their daughter and son had been in a classroom and a teacher had showed a cartoon video of a guy raping a girl while someone else held her down. It was part of the Germanic studies. And these parents have gone round and round, gone back and forth. Even the Department of Education, they still are getting nowhere. So I invited him, if this continues, to come on the show in the near future. The kids are having some problems because they're seeing these teacher. And I mean, it's just a mess. Keep sex out of our schools. It's not your business. Let the parents do that. But everybody has this agenda going. Also, speaking of sex and agendas, Bethel School District in Eugene. We had an update on that last night. Today, the principal of Irving Elementary School, Irving, I can't remember. He put up a Facebook post explaining to the parents what this gender class club is all about, but did nothing to answer any of the questions that we had. So I reposted that. You can see it on my Facebook pages. You'll see that what he responded to, not to me, but to telling the parents, they obviously know we're doing this because I've been calling the district office and they're ignoring me. But I reposted the questions that still have yet to be answered, and they will not answer them, but I'm going to keep posting them because guess what? That's what a journalist does. And that's what I'm going to do. So let's talk about the topic for tonight. Yes, Joe, she is running again. And so let's bring Rick on. So this is the other Rick. We have two Ricks. You can never have too many Ricks on a show. Rick Riley, chairman of the Clackamas County Republican Party. And just tell them what you're doing here, Rick. I think this is amazing.
Well, first of all, we're already bonding because our hair is the same color.
Yeah, and in the Bible, it says it's a crowning glory and a sign of wisdom.
That's right. So, well, to give you a little background for people who don't know me, I am a strong Christian. And when I became chair of the party, I never planned on becoming chair. I became a PCP because the 2020 election was stolen. Let's all say that out loud. The 2020 election was stolen. So a number of us became PCPs at that time. If you remember, they were going to helicopter Trump in and helicopter Biden out, and it was going to be done just like that, and we're going to get back to life. Well, that didn't happen. And our chair at the time said the election was not stolen and Oregon elections are secure. And a number of us said, that's not why we're here. So we sidestepped that and we formed, 12 of us met in my living room for 2 years.
Huh.
And every Tuesday night for 2 years. And we formed a group called Take Back America. And Take Back America, we met at a place called High Rocks in Gladstone. And Take Back America grew to over 300 people. I mean, it was, God was the magnet. It was, we are God, family, and country. And that's what we're all about. We're MAGA, we're America first. And people who feel like they can't talk in Oregon finally found somebody they could talk to and a place they could talk. So it grew. Well, the Clackamas County Party, the official party, called us the Clackamas Crazies at the time. So the Clackamas Crazies became activists. We're the third largest county, but we by far have the most activism and the most PCPs, precinct committee persons, of any county in the state. We have over 500.
Wow.
We dwarf everybody else. And so with that, when we were meeting Take Back America, I pray about this every day. I pray before we have meetings, what do you want me to say, Lord? What is your mission here? Why am I here? Because I never planned on doing any of this, and here I am. And he said, it needs to be changed, and you need to change it. So I said, in front of one of our meetings, I said, God's telling me I should run for chair. And I got a standing ovation. And it wasn't because of me, the personality. It was because they knew they were being told what to do. And I told them, you will be the voice, and I will make sure your voice is heard. One of my 2 promises. And my other promise is we'll put God in the center of the party. And I got elected in a landslide. My vice chair I chose is Dan Tooze. He's a Proud Boy. Dan got elected in a landslide. And so we're in our second term. So that's how we got here. So now, go ahead.
Out of those meetings, Rick, is that where this, I mean, you hear it as much as anybody that, people really, I think I even have friends on the left who question whether the election, the ballot, mail-in ballot is a good system. And you're hearing that all the time.
Well, from day one, yeah, when we joined, that's why we formed the outside group, because Oregon's elections are not secure. So, but how this came to be, again, my time with God seems to be about 3:43 in the morning. Every time I wake up, I look at my digital clock, it's 3:43, and I don't know why. But he said, I want you to expose the fraud, and this is how I want you to do it. And I got up, I started writing, and he fed me the scripts. And by 6 o'clock that night, I had 6 spots written, produced with a music bed, 29 and a half seconds, ready to go on the air. I for our next meeting, I played them because you want to get audience perception. This is only what I'm writing. You want to find out how it's received. They loved them. They said, you got to get them on the air. This is perfect. So that's been my mission since then. So they were audio spots to start with. And to get them on social media, you need some kind of video.
Right.
So I went and I got somebody to design a whiteboard for each one so they can be shareable. But the campaign, there's an End VBM campaign going on where it's signatures, as you know, to get it on the ballot. One wonders why you're going to put something on the ballot to defeat the ballot it's on. But nevertheless, it's a great effort. I have found a lot of my conservative friends say, what's wrong with vote by mail? They're uneducated because every time the Secretary of State speaks, voting by mail is fun, safe, and secure. Right. And it's not. So if you look at it, how the ballots are mailed out from a vendor, and until they come back to the elections office, nobody knows what's happened to them. They get, and this is what I designed the spots around. This is what, the exposure of the fraud is. And I don't know when you want to play one to kind of get things going to show people. You want to do that, or do you want me to keep going here?
Keep going. I couldn't get them to download on my program. It was just my fault. But
can you get to the website? Because they're on the website.
I can send people to the website, but I can't play it from here to here. But what your ads are doing is not selling vote by mail or talking about. You're explaining it. I mean, when I'm
explaining it, and I'm saying, hey, it was designed to cheat, so let's all do it. And that's what's throwing people off. It's a backdoor approach, because you can get on the air, and this is why it's become so popular. And I've had people, they're starting to run on Lars Larson's show. And I've had people contacting me say, I've got scotch tape and a pen, let's go to work. These spots are hilarious. And so what it's doing is saying, when you call the elections office, it will tell you that you can change your vote by slicing open your envelope, changing the vote, and then scotch tape with a pen, and then scotch taping it closed. It will be counted. So I put that in the spot. And I said, well, why not get a whole bunch of votes, open them up, change them all the way you would vote, scotch tape them with a pen, or scotch tape the envelopes closed and get into the elections office to elect your candidate. So you can instruct people that it's bad, but when you take a backdoor approach and say, hey, it's bad, but this is the way it's designed, so let's all be bad, it gets people's attention. And in the spot, I say, it's not the right thing to do, but it's the way it was designed, so let's take advantage of the system.
I'm going to do something, Rick. This is real cheesy, but I think, yeah. Okay, I think I can do this.
If you can play them.
I think I can put this right up like that. Okay, so hold
on.
All right, you guys. So this is like old school. Oh, wait, here's the YouTube channel. Let me go there. This is Teresa Huff put this on there. Let me get it all set up.
Envelope, change your vote and scotch tape it closed. That ballot.
Hold on.
When voting in Oregon, if you make a mistake on your ballot, slice open the envelope, change your vote, and scotch tape it closed. That ballot will be accepted. So why not offer to take your neighbors, friends, and coworkers' ballots to the drop box for them? On the way, with scotch tape and a pen, change their votes to the way you would vote. It's not the right thing to do, but these vote-by-mail loopholes were created to cheat. So let's all take advantage of the system. Find more ways to cheat at ditchvotebymail.org. Paid for by Ditch Vote by Mail, Pack 24314.
So there you go.
So somebody on here asking, this is a question you're going to get a lot. I think it's Matt. Yeah. Where are you, Matt? What kind of fraud have we been able to find to show that it's not safe? And then he wanted to know where the spots are. So what on your site, what is your site?
It's ditchvotebymail.org.
Okay, so that's on there. So now if you now answer the question, what kind of fraud have we seen?
Okay. I didn't want to just put these out there with no documentation. So every spot has documentation. If you go to the Listen and Learn tab, under each spot, there's documentation of why the spot was created and examples of the fraud.
So that will show people.
Yeah, that will show. The site is totally explanatory. There's nothing that's left to the imagination or speculation. Well, so for example, go ahead and read one of the captions on there. Say, I just explained, I guess we just explained the vote by mail or the mistake. Read one under, say, ballot harvesting.
Under state ballot harvesting? Hang on just a sec. I got to go back to this.
You know, I've got a 48-inch monitor right in back of my little laptop here, and I can get to it. I can read that to you as well.
Okay.
I'm in my recording studio, so everything is larger than life, but it's too big for a Zoom call.
Rick, so how do you get voters? Because there's so many, even in the Republican side, who still think it's fair. I know it's education, but I hear this all the time. Oh, it works and it's easy. But you know, we in Montana, we have the smaller elections, they do vote by mail, cities and stuff like that. But generals and midterms and all that kind of stuff and statewide elections are all done. And you go in and you show your driver's license, you sign your name, and you sit there and vote in the ballot box. You know,
well, it used to be with everybody.
Yeah.
Right. So what was your question?
So how do you convince people that this easy system that we've been using for so long that they like is producing the kind of government that we are getting?
A 30-year track record speaks for itself. We haven't had, see, I've got all this documentation on the website. Before vote by mail, we had 57% Republicans elected, 14% Democrats. Since vote by mail, we've had no Republicans elected. And that's in the last 3 decades.
And you're talking in the executive branch?
Yes. And again, you know, if you scroll down, which I'm looking at, I wish I could share this with you, but I'm not Zoom capable. So if you scroll down to corrupt, okay, and the spot, I could flip my screen around and show you the big one, but the corrupt spot says, it plays, and then the description says, since vote by mail began testing in local elections 1981, then fully expanded to state and federal elections in 1999, Oregon has been a one-party controlled state. Before vote by mail, Oregon elected 20 Republicans, 14 Democrats, and 1 independent. In the last 7 elections under vote by mail, only Democrats have been elected, breaking it down 57% Republicans before, 0% afterwards. An almost 30-year track record speaks for itself. See the documentation by clicking here. And then it goes, you can click on it, and I send you to the documentation. So in answer to these questions, there's so many questions. First of all, people say, there's some in our party, conservatives, who say, well, don't talk about the fraud. It'll cause people not to vote. Well, 30 years of losing has caused people not to vote. You know, we had so many Republicans that didn't vote. You talk to them and they go, why bother? Oregon's a write-off. It's a blue state. My vote doesn't count. So that track record alone is going to inhibit people from voting. If you start exposing the fraud, and this campaign is an educational campaign. NVBM is a petition campaign. But in order to sign a petition, you have to believe in what you're signing.
Right.
So my campaign is to educate them so they can believe there is fraud and to sign there. It's supportive of that. Ultimately, what I'd like it to do, if we can get enough saturation on radios around the state and social media, through free social media, paid social media, I don't know if that was you or me, then we can civilians can introduce a bill as long as you have a state representative to sponsor it. And I believe by the time that we can get a bill in, there's going to be so much information about how much fraud there is in the system. They're going to have to defend the undefendable.
Right.
And then we can it was brought before the House at one time and pretty much thrown away to get rid of vote by mail and go to in-person voting, and it was thrown away. But with education, and people say, well, there's so much fraud in this system, machines that tally votes, and we've seen them go backwards to ballot harvesting. Why would anybody ballot harvest? You know, I mean, if your post person brings a ballot to your place, why can't your post person pick it up? Why does somebody else have to come around and pick it up for you? Then what happens to it? There's no chain of custody.
You know what Rick, what's never made sense to me is that the push to make sure that everybody votes. Look how many people are registered in Oregon. Actually, look how many people are not registered in Oregon. Then look how many people, especially Republicans, who didn't even vote in the last election. So we've got our problem. If you don't want to vote and you're not educated about the issues, please don't vote. But we have this attitude in Oregon, and it's like, everybody needs to vote. Well, no, everybody doesn't need to vote. Everybody has the right to vote. But if you're not educated and you're just going in and going, oh, yeah, I like that name. Ron Wyden sounds familiar. Check. I don't want you voting. Matt says on here, in all fairness, vote by mail elected Donald Trump. Not in Oregon, it didn't.
Nope. No.
What's to say that the Republicans aren't just moving out of state where the numbers aren't there to win? I don't understand.
You had Dr. Frank on the show.
Dr. Frank was amazing.
He loves this program. Dr. Frank and I met. He loves it. In fact, he and Mark Cook would like to see it go national with other states that are using vote by mail. Mark Cook went nuts over it. So, and you know who Mark Cook is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many do you know? I didn't ask you this ahead of time, but do you know how many states actually use vote by mail for all elections?
I do not. I know that the DOJ is suing, I think, 27 states for corrupt voter rolls, and Oregon is one.
Oregon's horrible.
And you know that there's more registered voters than there are people.
So what does that tell you? So to me, Rick, if people really, the system to me is designed to be unfair.
Exactly.
And it's designed to do exactly what it's done, is create a super majority for the left party, and add that to redistricting and drawing lines where they shouldn't be drawn, especially up in the Portland area. Why do 5 of the 6 districts in the state, maybe it's 4, I think it's 5, all have ties to Multnomah County? Every one of them. It goes from Multnomah County out to the rural lands all the way over to French Glen. And it's like, how is that designed to not be gerrymandering? That is totally gerrymandering.
And here's another argument they use. Well, the people voted in vote by mail. Well, yeah, it's like if I sell you a shiny new car and say this is going to be a great vehicle, and then I go and sabotage it and it breaks down every other mile and you have to call me and pay me for repairs. It's great in concept, but vote by mail was sold as it's going to be safe and secure. And once they had it, they started manipulating it, adding 7 days after election, we're going to be counting ballots. Now you can ballot harvest. We've got more, we're never going to clean up the voter rolls. Teresa Hamilton, you know who she is?
Uh-huh.
She is a stalwart. She is a warrior. She found 3,500 people in Clackamas County alone, 3,500 in one county that have moved out of state and are still on our voter rolls. And then Dr. Frank says, well, they use those. If and I've covered all of this. One of the spots I have is ballot sharks. Well, a card shark, if you're playing a card shark, he's not going to win every game. He's going to let you win enough to keep you in the game. But in the end, he's going to walk away with a pot. And all they do, every once in a while, you'll get a Republican elected, but you'll never get enough Republicans elected to have power in the state. That's the way they've worked it. And they can take ballots. And if a Republican is winning, and then with the 7 days afterwards, they say, okay, well, the Republican is winning by 2,000 votes. All we need is 2,200. Let's pull 2,200 out of those register. And all of a sudden, we've just lost by 200. That's the way they've done it.
You made a comment that people say, well, Oregonians voted for vote by mail. Well, they also voted for Measure 110, which legalized all drugs in the state of Oregon. How's that working for them? And
well, do you think they did?
Huh?
You think they did? We have a corrupt.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, you know what? If we go by this logic, Rick, I may actually have been your Secretary of State.
There you go. Look.
Maybe. So wait, Matt says, I want to address this real fast.
Okay.
Matt comes on here, says, why not just fix the system instead of throwing it away? So let me pose a question to you, Matt. Do you think the current vote by mail system is working well for everyone in Oregon? Answer me that. Instead of asking me questions, let's ask you questions. And he said, I think there's 8 states vote by mail, and Washington, D.C. elect to be conducted entirely by mail. I saw somebody else had on here. Yeah. Oh, somebody else just put on here, vote by mail. Yes. Yeah. They also voted for Measure 110.
There you go. Yeah, but they didn't. I don't, you know how much money goes into the pockets of people when they legalize drugs, and then there's people on the streets, and then they start programs to help people on the streets, and you see buildings that are not occupied but have been paid for, and workers that are being paid for that never show up. That's why 110 got approved. That's why all this stuff, they want to keep people on the streets. They don't want to help them. The homeless are a money pot to them. And as long as they keep the homeless out there and have all of these programs, anything that's run by the government the money goes into the pockets of the people that are running it.
You know what I don't understand is the acceptance in Oregon and other states, but we're talking about Oregon, of illegal people in Oregon illegally being able to vote. I don't get it. Why should you have a say when you're not even supposed to be here? And that's not racist. It's not brownist. It's not colorless. It's not homophobic. It's like
you're doing something you should never do. You're using logic.
Right. That's the other thing. Okay, let's do the other thing. How a driver's license. I think it's racist to say that people of color can't get a driver's license, which is what Democrats insinuate, that they're not smart enough to get. How shame on them.
Right.
Saying that anybody can get a driver's license that's here legally. And so why wouldn't you be proud to walk up to the elections office and show your driver's license before you can vote, assuming that you don't have vote by mail? But how do you make sure that this person is the right person? We did that for blockbuster movies. You had to have it. You have to do it to buy alcohol. You have to do it if you're under 18 to buy cigarettes, or if you're, look under 18 to show that you're not, for cigarettes. And we don't give a shit about an election that's deciding who's running our state. I mean, that's just dumb. That's dumb.
Well, it's dumb to us who think, and it's dumb to us to want truth. But when you come back to we don't care about who's running our state, money, power is money, and they will do anything. And they have motor voter registration. They have done anything to keep themselves in power and money. You know, there's basically three parties. There's the Democrats and Republicans, and then there's those who are in between who want truth. The Democrats feed the Republicans, say you can have the money, and the Republicans feed the Democrats, saying you can have the power. And that's who we're battling, because actually this is supposed to be a government of the people, by the people, for the people. And neither one of these other two parties make it that way. They all serve each other.
Well, yeah, I always tell people, you know, at the top of the Constitution, it doesn't say we the legislature. It doesn't
Right.
say we the president, we the executive branch. It doesn't say we the unions, we the corporations, you know, any of that. It says we the people. And yet we the people, I think, have abdicated our responsibility for so long, especially in Oregon. And
Right.
now it's catching up with us. And it's really hard to take that monster and tame it.
Well,
And,
you know,
and
you
it's
can.
hard to take power away from a party that's owned Oregon for 40 years, since Vic Attia, our last governor, that was a Republican, and he did a great job of saving us from the 1980s recession. He never got credit for that, but he was the last. And prior to that, you had Republicans and Democrats, Republicans and Democrats, and then it just turned all Democrats. And until our Secretary of State a few years ago, God, I can't think of his name, Richardson. You know, that was the first Republican in the executive branch in like 30 some years. That's not fair and equal government. That is a one party rule.
Well, you can look at it two ways. The Democrats are really smart at cheating. They're very, very smart. And a good cheater will never let you know they're cheating. Republicans pretty much hold jobs, have families, they work all day, they come home to their families. That's where their obligations lie. Politics, I wasn't in politics. I said I became a PCP in 2020 when the election was stolen. It took something right in my face, being hit in the head with a 2x4, that this guy did not get 81 million votes. These people are liars. Somebody's got to do something. I guess it's time for me to step in. But we've been complacent because they cheat well and we work hard, and we weren't paying attention to that. So that's how this all kind of manifested itself, to where now we got to play catch up.
Do you think that Oregonians, that they're waking up to what's going on?
Yes. I know our party is. As I said, I think I told you we were off air. We chatted for a little bit before we went on air. Maybe I said this while we were on air. We have over 500 PCPs. That's a lot of people who have signed up to be the grassroots part of their government in one county. Those people, we are the army of the awakened. And I think, you know, I don't know if you monitor, I look at Steve Bannon as kind of the tip of the spear nationally. And I catch up with him every morning just to find out what's going on in other states and nationally and all of that. And it was Dan Schultz, I think, that alerted me to precinct committee man and how that worked. And he got the precinct committee man, committee woman ball rolling.
So Matt wants to know, PCP is what's the official term for that? Matt is asking that.
Precinct committee person. In other states, they're called precinct committee men, precinct committee women. Here in Oregon, we're proper. We're androgynous. So it's precinct committee person.
What is that? What is a precinct committee person?
That allows you to have a say in your government. You're actually elected. All you have to do is have 3 people vote for you. You appear on a ballot, and then you and your local party, you have a say of your local party of who the leadership is. So when I got elected chair, I got elected by elected PCPs, by precinct committee persons.
So Matt, basically it's part of like you have Republican Central Committee. That's this group of Republicans. In Lane County has one, Marion County has one, they all have one. And these are then people are elected to those positions, and then they elect leadership.
And their voice is heard.
Do you think the PCPs, this one we might not agree on, but when I ran for office, I was kind of like, what is going on here? When all the voters, like I was a non-affiliated voter for a long time, and we have to pay for your PCP elections. I always thought that was kind of bad. I mean, it's your party business. You guys should pay for it. I don't want to pay for your party business as a taxpayer.
Well, I'm not sure I really follow that. I mean, PCP elections they just appear on the ballot. It's your, go ahead.
But the taxpayer pays for that.
If writing an extra name in ink on the ballot, it's not a specific ballot. It comes out in the
regular
general election. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's just part of it.
I thought they had PCP elections and they were separate. And,
no.
And it never made sense to me. I'm sorry. I don't mean to put you on the spot. That's always been a
separate. They're separate, and we charge you each $10.
Do you? So what do you think it's going to take to get people to, so your campaign I love, because you're just educating people and trying to get people to see that there are problems and at least see that there could be problems. I mean, there's going to be hardcore people that are going to sit there and go, no, 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 no. But you're showing with facts that here's things you need to look at. So what I've always told people when they come on, they say, what we need for the next elections, for the midterms, is to get that mail-in ballots off the, change that. That isn't going to happen for the midterms.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
I just don't see that happening in Oregon.
Say I don't see it happening, but don't say that it isn't going to happen.
Okay.
That's my goal. Okay. My goal is to get this campaign rolling. So here's the deal with social media, people come to you. Okay. And people go to social media and they see whatever they're going to see because they specifically elect to go there. When they're in radio, when they're listening to radio and they're on their drive home, radio comes to them. Most of them, are paying attention to the road, leave the radio on, and all of a sudden this commercial comes on and they go, what was that? So you come to them. And my goal is to come through social media, get all of these spots on the website that we've designed, ditchvotebymail.org, are shareable. So if you go there and you click on one, it'll take you to YouTube and you can share anything on YouTube. Then you post it to your Facebook, you post it to your X account, you post it to your social media. But with like it running on KXL right now, in Lars' show, people are driving, it's drive time, and all of a sudden it comes on, they can't get away from it. And that piques their interest. What do you mean? What do you mean, let's all steal? And then at the end, it says, go to ditchvotebymail.org, where the education. So the website is designed as a landing page.
Well, and this is what you do and what you did your whole career is media stuff. And so somebody just asked, I'm going to get Rosemary. You just ask, what can I do? You're a retired nurse. What can you do? Here's what you do. Every week you go on Rick's page, you pull one of those ads, don't overdo it. Do one a week. You post it. You start posting. Let's say how many ads are there, Rick?
6.
There's 6 ads. So for the next 6 weeks, you're airing one of those ads. Then you start over again. You go again with number 1, go through those, and you start posting them in. And because these are your friends, Rosemary, these are people that care about you and are paying attention. This is how social media works. This is the magic. You say something before you post it in there. You make a comment on there that says, I really like this ad. Did you know that this, and this could happen? So you're piquing their interest, and your friends are saying, well, Rosemary saw that. I wonder. And then your friends share that off your page and share it. We don't need the legacy media anymore. We can do this. And it's very much more, I know there's a lot of bad things about social media, but it's much more relational, because you then become, what I like about it is now you become part of the solution. So every person, I get so many people when I do stories, and people will send me more information, and they're getting involved. They're reaching out. And that's what the magic. If we use this right, you can make a difference. I mean, you can actually you become your own little broadcast station. You're just like Rick and me. You have your little audience. It may be smaller, but who cares? Those people matter, and they need to be educated. So, but you can't be lazy, and you can't go, oh, well, Rick and Rick are doing it. So yeah, great. Okay. Let's all support them. We want your support, but what we want you is to take the stuff he's worked hard creating, and go play with it.
And then when you give them that spot and they say, well, where do you get that from? Goes back to the website, and I'll just read you the explanation for ballot harvesting. They come back, they've heard the ballot harvesting spot, and they say, what do you mean? You can go door to door collecting ballots. Well, going door to door to collect ballots is completely legal in Oregon. Anyone can collect ballots. According to state law, people collecting ballots must have a collection box that clearly reads unofficial ballot drop site. The font must be at least 50-point bold font size in all caps, which means make up a box and you're a legal ballot harvester. Once the harvester has those ballots, they can be changed or just plain thrown away. Read actual case activity here. And then I've got a link where it takes you to actual case activity where they busted ballot harvesters changing ballots.
Because what people don't understand is, I mean, think how easy this would be. I don't know if you guys understand how easily your information is accessible. But if somebody's, and people are this ruthless, they go into a neighborhood and they figure out which houses are Republicans and which are Democrats. And I'm a Republican and I don't want Democrats' ballots in there because I'm sure Republicans could do it too. I'm just trying to be fair here. You go and then you take those Democrats. Oh, I think they're a Democrat. You throw their ballot away, but you tell them you're going to take these in and mail them for them. That's
right.
What happens all the time. And
or you're exactly right. The Postal Service was endorsed by the Democrats. So you got your postal person. I'm not saying postal people would do this, but they have. They see a Trump sign, or they know that you're a conservative Republican. They take your ballot, and all of a sudden it finds itself in a gully.
Yeah.
So there's multiple ways to do that, but that's the system where there's no chain of custody. And I was going to tell you something along those lines, but I forgot what it was. But anyway, so yeah, there's nobody monitoring. Again, if we go back to when it's mailed out until it's, I know what I was going to tell you. We went down and did some observing at the elections office when they were counting ballots. Multiple ballots had Trump, voted for Trump, an X by Trump. And then in the same one with the write-in, Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, and that negates the Trump vote. Now, why would anybody go to the trouble of voting for Trump? If you didn't want to vote for him, don't vote for him. Or if you wanted to vote against him, vote against him. Why would anybody go to the trouble of voting for Trump and then below it write in a name that negated their vote? It kind of looks like somebody got their hands on it in between, and in order to negate Trump's vote, they just wrote in, and we saw Donald Duck, we saw Mickey Mouse, we saw one was Jesus Christ, but they were all written in to negate Trump's vote. That's why we have no chain of custody.
Yeah, I didn't know people could do that.
Yeah. And all you have to do, if you call the elections office, just if you make a mistake, slice open the envelope, change your vote, seal it back up, it will be accepted. Well, let me ballot harvest. I offered to, from our Republican office in Oregon City, offer people, I said, I'll curry them down there for you to the elections office to make sure they get there. And so multiple people dropped them off. So I took 35 down in one trip. I thought I could stop at a rest stop and I could change every single one of these and nobody would ever know. And if you go to the elections office, you'll see ballots discarded with Scotch tape on them. So, it's just, it's flagrant. It's just unbelievable.
It's, and we hear Democrats and Republicans talking about, we need fair elections. Well, we don't hear it as much from the Democrats anymore, but with the last election we did, we need fair elections. Why would you even consider mail-in as being fair when it's so easy to mess around with? You know what I mean? It's amazing to me that it's taken this long for people to figure this out.
Well, Biden was a wake-up call because we all know he didn't get 81 million votes.
He couldn't have. There's no way.
He couldn't get 8 people to show up at a rally, let alone 81 million people to vote for him. And Trump, if you remember, had convoys that were miles long voting for him in boats and trucks and cars. People were in the 2020 election, people were rallying for Trump everywhere. And Biden got nothing. And then all of a sudden, the polls close down. If you look at the two graphs, they go up like this, they close down. And when they open up, Biden goes up here. When you get votes, when you get ballots in, they're proportional. They're not just for one person all of a sudden with one batch. And when they closed down and they opened up, they were one batch for Biden and he took the election.
I had 3 phone calls from people after the last election, and they said they had a daughter, a son. One of them had a daughter, a son, and a dead mom. And he still gets their ballots at his house when
Sure.
they all re-registered already in other places. And he said, if I was, if I was like that, I could open those ballots, vote, and send them in. He goes, but I wouldn't do that. Tara on
Right.
here says, I totally get it. I'm a registered Democrat who decided to vote Republican, and my dog is paying the price now. I get messages the message very clearly it's an Oregon thing. Carol, I'm going to contract. You're saying sounds like we're screwed. No, you're not screwed at all. You've been screwed. Now you're getting unscrewed because you're going to educate people and your neighbors, and you're going to help. And we're not going to get all down about this. It's not like this is the end of the world. Yeah, it sucks and it's horrible. And we made a mistake. So what are you supposed to do when you make a mistake? You repent. What does that mean? You turn and go 180 degrees the other direction. So we're making a 180, and you don't sit and whine about it, and you don't cry and go, oh God, what a horrible thing we did. You just turn, you go, okay, we did something wrong. Turn. Now, what are you going to do? Something positive to make change and go the other direction. That's how you do it. You don't sit around. I'm so sick. I'm sorry. And I know I'm not an Oregonian anymore. And I know you guys, this could get me in a little bit of hot water with some of you. But I'm so sick of every answer when something happens. Tina's running for office. Oh, well, nothing's going to ever happen because we have mail-in ballots. It's like, okay, then fix it. Stop it. Don't be people who just sit back and go, well, how do you change that? Well, Rick's working on something. Ben Idle's working on something. Bill's working on trying to recall the governor. The Ed Deal and Jason Williams and Bruce Starr are going to get, you guys are going to get that tax thing on the ballot because as of yesterday, 175,000 people, Democrats, non-affiliated voters, Green Party, Republicans signed those petitions. You are changing, and you're changing things. So don't act like, oh, woe is me, because you know what? The Democrats screwed you. You woke up, and now you're going to do something about it. That's
let me, along those lines, I'm old enough where I should be retired, but this needs to be done. I could be doing a lot more fun stuff than this. This is not my calling. I didn't step in to be a PCP to be chair of the party. I didn't join this to take up all my time instead of going and playing tennis with my pals and doing all the stuff that I do. I did this because if we don't do it, nobody else is going to. And my mantra is, as long as we keep this system, nothing will change. But
right.
Once we change it, everything will change. And I mean, everything will change.
Yeah.
That's the monetarily, business, people who are afraid to put signs out because the government will, conservative signs, because the government will come and take them down, or all of a sudden cause trouble for you. All of a sudden, the government's not going to be run by those people anymore. Everything will change. This is not the state that people think it is. This is the state that vote by mail has made people think it is.
Matt put on here 700,000 Oregonians didn't vote in the last election. And that's terrible. I mean, if you care, and 200,000 of them were Republicans. And that would, you guys, and really, I think people have been told, think, oh, my vote doesn't matter anyway. No, it does matter. I mean, it really does.
It does. But look, if you're whacked in the head for 30 years, are you going to say, okay, go ahead and whack me again?
Right.
You say you got it. Yeah. So people have been discouraged from voting. Their vote has not counted. Republicans have been discouraged. Democrats, why would we change it? We're in power.
Yeah.
So you've got two big reasons why a lot of people don't vote. Democrats don't need to. Republicans feel it doesn't matter. It doesn't count. We've never counted for 30 years.
Yeah. Well, you're going to count now, aren't you?
There you go. I'm in it to win it, pal. My whole goal, once we get rid of vote by mail, I'm stepping aside, find another chair, take over, pick up the baton. I just want to bring truth and transparency to this state. We live in a very dark state, and it needs to go. We need to bring the light.
I feel it when I come back. You know what I mean? You come back and you feel like people, there's an oppression there.
There
And,
is.
you can't describe it if you live in it as easily as when you've been in it and then you leave and you come back. It's really hard because
Well, it's a spiritual war.
it,
I don't know if you
it's,
talk about that,
it's good and
but
evil. I mean, and it doesn't
yeah,
mean Democrats are evil. I'm not saying people go, oh,
no,
you're calling. No, I mean, there's evil forces and there's good forces. And if any force is trying to silence a group of people, that's an evil force.
no.
And I don't want Republicans in charge. I want a balanced government. I want maybe a few more Republicans one year and a few more Democrats the next year. But this super majority stuff, it has to go because you don't have balance and you don't have people doing what's best for Oregon, and we also need to make the Secretary of State a position that's non-political in terms of partisan. I mean, the
Good
Secretary
idea.
of State's job is supposed to be to stick up for the people of Oregon. That means he or she goes to the governor and says, no, you don't get to do that. That's not what they voted. Here's what the law says. And to the legislature and say, no, you're not going to do this. I'm here to stick up for the people. And all we get is party.
A puppet for the party.
Yep. Another one.
Yeah.
Dudley's up by 100,000 votes. The next day, they found 100,000 votes in Portland and 30,000 in Eugene, all going to Kissober. No one went to Dudley. How are you feeling about the governor's race? There, I'll put you on the spot, Rich. How do you feel? What do you think?
Well, as the chair of the party, we have to wait until the primary. I can't take a favorite. Our bylaws say that we support all Republicans equally until the primary. So obviously, I want a Republican to win. But
Right.
my personal goal is get rid of vote by mail. That's the whole thing. Once we do, then we'll know. If a Democrat gets elected after we stand in line, show our ID, and we watch our paper ballot counted, congratulations.
Yeah.
You won, and we know you won.
Yeah.
But right now, we know nothing. We have no transparency. We have no faith in our system. We don't know who really won, what really went on. And that's the wrong way to run a government, to run an election, to run a state.
Well, I think Republicans have some good candidates running for governor this time. I mean,
I agree.
And Matt, somebody asked, is Dudley in? That it's not official yet. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
People are
A lot
speculating.
of people are pushing him too.
Yeah, they're pushing
I
him.
met with him the other night. I went to a little get together, and I got a crick in my neck from talking to him.
I have an even funnier story, but
He's trying it.
I saw him at an event recently, and I thought, oh, I got to tell this guy the story, and I don't care. It's like, this is years ago after I lost my race. He was running for governor. And we went to this little private club in downtown Portland where it's real exclusive and there's no name on it. And he was speaking or something, and they said they wanted me to come. So I went. So I had to go to the bathroom. I go into the urinals, and they're these urinals that are like probably 4 or 5 feet high. And I mean, like, would you stand?
Is that right?
You're like this, and you're standing there peeing. And I was looking around, they're so high. And I thought, the only person that could walk in here and stand next to me and look down would be him. And he walked up, stood at the urinal right next to me. And I was just sitting there going, and I looked up and I thought, what are the chances of that? So I told him, and he goes, I didn't look. He's a nice man.
As long as you looked up and not down.
Yeah. Well, and you got Christine, and I've interviewed, I haven't interviewed him or Christine yet. I've interviewed Christine before, and so I will have her on. But I've had Danielle Bethel. She's awesome. I've had Paul. He's coming. Van Dyke. Just a bunch of different people, and I think it's really good for people to hear all of them.
Yeah, I agree.
So that everybody can kind of go, who are these people about? So, Danielle Bethel is a Marion County commissioner. Very, seems really smart, and I'm excited to see what she can do. And I just think it's a good year for people. And I hope that the party, does the right thing and everybody, sticks together, votes their thing, when primary comes out, and then everybody grabs behind that candidate, because we can't have all this backbiting bullshit.
Well, may the best person win in a truthful system.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Rick, so if I put the address up there for the website. So you guys, that's kind of what you should do.
I'll also ask, and I hate asking for money, but
no, do it. It's fine.
buying time is expensive.
Yeah.
And in our coffers so far, we had about $6,000 donated. I was able to purchase 32 spots for the month of December on Large Show, and that was $3,200. 2 spots a day, or actually 2 spots, 1 spot, 2 spots, is not going to be saturation.
Right.
It's going to take some money to get some saturation. So there's a donate page on the website, and if you are a large donor, we established a 501(c). So since it's an educational website and not political, it is tax deductible. So that's a nice thing.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So if it's large enough to where it would make a difference in you deducting your taxes, it's a 501(c).
Okay.
So go to the donation site or go to the donation page, but we need funds. And again,
Right.
this ain't for me. This is for us. And as I said, unless we change it, nothing's going to change. But once we do, we will be in a different state. Everything will change. And as long as we have transparency and truthfulness, nobody can bitch.
All right. Rick, Riley, thank you so much for what you're doing. I think, as another marketing guy, I think it's genius. And I think the good thing is because if you go right at people with vote by mail is bad. No, I'm telling you the story of what vote by mail has done. Not
Exactly.
that it's bad, so they get to see the facts for themselves and realize that it's not bad, it's ineffective. And it's not doing what most Oregonians right now are seeing, is creating a legislature that works for one woman and one party, and everybody else in the state is kind of like, screw you. And
Yeah.
I think people are tired of that. And what I love about Oregon is a lot of Democrats are tired of it, because deep down inside,
They know.
it's not Oregonian to be unfair. That's not part of our DNA. That's
That's fact.
We're independent cusses. We have a hard time getting along with other people because we all think that we're right. But when it comes down to fairness, we will fight to the bitter end so that everybody has a voice. And those who don't do that are not true Oregonians. And they're the ones who are going to get sifted out like the chaff from the
There
wheat.
you go.
So
Well, you and I had not met before, but we are of the same ilk. And this has been a real pleasure. I really appreciate you having me on your program.
Oh, Rick, when you get going and, like in a month or two, just come, let's have you back on and talk about how things are going. And
That'd be awesome.
No. Okay. It's good.
Awesome.
Good having
Rick.
you. See you later. You too. So there you go, guys. Now, this is your responsibility. So this is like anything. We talk about this stuff. So you can't just hear this and go, oh, great. Look what that Rick guy's doing. No, this is participation sport. And if you truly, you say you want Oregon back, if you really want Oregon back, then you have to participate. So that means, and this isn't like kids sports where you just get an award for showing up. Now you have to actually do something and you have to be good at it. So that means that's my idea. You go on his page and every day, every week, once a week, and when you guys go to post stuff, it'll tell you the most traffic time you have on your page. It does. You just go in your business suite. It'll tell you the highest traffic time you have on your page. So then you find out what that is and you post that once a week. You post that in there and be sure and write something that you personalize that with, because that's going to draw you. They're not, Rick doesn't know them. They don't know me. They don't know him. They know you. So put a little love in there, and make it personal. And that's how you change this stuff. And then again, when I ran for office, I wonder, maybe I am your Secretary of State. Maybe I would have been your governor. But anyway, that's not what God had planned, obviously. But it takes money. When the only reason I didn't win, I came like 3% behind Kate Brown. And you know what she did during COVID? That wouldn't have happened if I was your governor. You guys been on your own. This is a disease. Your body will take care of it. If you have any problems and want to wear a mask, put the thing on, but don't tell other people what to do. And if you call on your neighbors, to hell with you. That would have been my stand on the whole thing. Grow up and be an adult. But that's nothing. But it takes money. I would have won if I had enough money to put the commercials out there. And that's what he needs, the money to educate people about vote by mail. Yes, you want to recall it. Yes, but that comes later. You got to first get people into the choir, into the church before you can preach to them. And then you can change things. Okay. All right. Well, it's Thursday. That's my Friday. So I won't be here this Saturday, Sunday. I'll be posting stuff. Stay with us on there. Next week, I've got an education, a guy from back east who's really big on education and what's not going on and what's not happening. And he's coming on next week. Who else do I have on? Oh, man. Well, I've got a couple of things coming up. So anyway, next week we're going to have good shows. If you guys are in the Bethel School District, be sure and call your Bethel School Superintendent and leave a message and say you want to know why they're not telling everything. Just, a little bit. It's good talking to you. I will see you guys later. I'm Rick Dancer. This is Get Real with Rick Dancer. Share this on your page too so other people can see it. That way they'll know what Rick's doing as well. The other Rick. All right. Good night. See ya.